everybody. Welcome to Rock and Roll Shin-Soo, episode number 52. My name is Gabe Estel. I'm here with my co-host Dennis Levi Leach and Jonathan Getz. Knees. All right. Good to see you guys. How's it going?
Hola. Wonderful.
Excellent. Glad to hear it. Well, tonight we've got a nice agenda lined up for everybody. We're going to talk about the opening season of Major League Baseball. Everybody's certainly excited for that. As well as we're going to talk, Jonathan just recently went to Florida, just got back a couple hours ago, from seeing 2 Pearl Jam concerts in the Miami area. So he's going to talk about both of those. And then also we're going to talk about Guns N' Roses' somewhat triumphant return to the stage. They played a gig at the Troubadour a little over a week ago, and then this past weekend they were in Vegas for the big arena shows, kind of giving people a little bit of a taste of probably what they'll experience this summer. And let's just say Axl broke his foot, and he's sitting down. I don't know if anyone saw that, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
I've been out of the loop. This is news to me.
Yeah,
I saw pictures of him in crutches, and I was like, huh?
Yeah, still playing the shows though. So anyway, but yeah, so we'll start with the baseball season, then go to Guns N' Roses, and then Pearl Jam. So anyway, guys, most teams have played about anywhere from 5 to 7 games now. So it's been fun so far. I would say at least all 3 of the teams that we root for have been off to pretty decent starts, I think. So White Sox just won again just a few hours ago in Minnesota. So both of your teams, particularly the Cubs, look very strong so far, as expected, I guess. Got the home opener tonight against the Reds.
I just want to say I called a major piece getting injured, I think, in our last podcast. I said I think that this year a major piece of the Cubs could get injured, but we would somehow sustain it.
Yeah.
And it freaking happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that, the first game?
Second game, I think.
Schwarber.
Yeah, Schwarber.
He's out for the year. So didn't even get a chance to have a sophomore slump, Levi. No. He's already gone.
It's one hell of a sophomore slump.
Yeah, right.
So even though you finished the week at 5-1, did the week feel kind of like a loss?
Well, no.
What's the morale in Cubs Nation?
It happened, and a friend texted me, a friend back in Illinois, and he's just like, dropping F-bombs. And I said, dude, I think it will be okay. I think we're going to make it. And sure enough, the Cubs, through that game, it was like they were playing for Schwarber. Mm-hmm. They scored a bunch of runs, and they won. And so, like I touched on before, they have enough depth this year to where I wasn't afraid of it. And in any year past, I would have been petrified if you were like, oh, one of the main offensive production, theoretically, the guy who could hit the most home runs on the team is going to go down. If you would have said that in the Sosa years, people would have cried. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think it's going to, while certainly he most likely would have been a big contributor, you're still the team to beat in the division, I think.
Oh, yeah. If anything, I think, baseball is a large portion of it is a mental game.
Sure.
And if anything, I think this will help his mental game a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's young enough that he's able to,
he'll have to
come back stronger. Hopefully,
and I mean he didn't spend much time in the minors to begin with, so he's still he can really use this time to sit and learn and study and make it a productive year.
That's how you approach it. I'm sure it's frustrating, on a personal level, but I agree with you guys. I think that hopefully he'll bounce back fine. Yeah. So and they, like Levi mentioned, they have enough pieces to really compensate for the loss. So
Levi, let me posit this: would you have rather started the season 1-5 and still have Schwarber, or be at 5-1 without Schwarber?
You never want to say, I want a guy to get hurt.
Well, but we know he's hurt. So if you could undo it, but you do 1-5.
I don't think I would, just because I think getting off to a good start this year is so important to this Cubs team because they've struggled with it in years past, frankly. And so I hate to say, I want a guy to be injured, or I wouldn't prevent it, but I think it's really important for this team to get off to a good start.
I think you're right, and I think it's important for any team. I mean, it's kind of an old adage, but seasons can't be won in April, but they can be lost in April. Certainly.
Minnesota Twins, God,
yeah, right.
Making me look pretty stupid.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even with the Cubs' expectations being so high, I mean, it'd really suck, Levi, if they started out like 1-6 or something like that. I mean, it would deflate the enthusiasm around the team. Yeah. And like Jonathan just mentioned, while I don't think a lot of people penciled Minnesota in to win the World Series, people thought they'd and they still could field a competitive team this year. I mean, who wants to start off 0-7?
Right.
No matter how good, no matter how much talent you may have.
Well, and just
healthy talent, whatever.
Yeah. To tag on to that is the Cubs today just are playing their opening game at Wrigley Field. And so the Cubs just got to see their new locker rooms for the first time.
Oh, wow.
And if you have a chance, go online. It's like Star Trek Enterprise. There's like ambient lighting everywhere, like red and blue lights shooting up in between the lockers and stuff.
It's Madden just pops out from the floor.
It's like
just
fog machines
around him.
Yeah, dude. It's impressive. And so I want them going into that 5-1. You know what I mean? I want them to be like, this is our new place and we're doing good. If they were going into that today 1-5, I don't think it would have the same effect.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, I would agree. Guys, I was looking for something, and my search has been kind of cursory, so I probably need to look a little more in depth. I'm looking for which players throughout history have had the best Aprils, but then dropped off, precipitously. Yeah. The guy I can think of, I don't know if you guys remember this guy from a few years ago. It was like a kind of a historic April. There was a guy that played for the Tigers by the name of Chris Shelton. I don't know if you guys remember him.
Yeah.
He wasn't in the league that long, maybe 5 seasons, 04 to 09, I think. Mm-hmm. He was a first baseman for the Tigers, first base DH. And dude, he crushed it in April of 06, I believe. Yeah, April of 06. I mean, just look at his numbers, if you can do a monthly split. Look at his numbers. He killed it. And I think by the end of the season, he was back in the minors.
Right.
Yeah. So I can't find a lot of, I'm sure maybe it's out there. I just have to look a little harder.
I think
of info like that, who had those months and then just dropped off.
It wasn't in April, but the St. Louis Cardinals had a player several years ago that I always think of when I think of players who just came on and then they went off as quickly as they came on. It was Bo Hart of the St. Louis Cardinals.
I remember him.
And he had
I don't remember all the details.
Torrid months, Hall of Fame months in the majors. And then after that, and he was, a young, scrappy white dude because of course he is for the Cardinals. And I think he played second. And then a couple years, I think he was out of the league within a couple years. But I always think of Bo Hart when I think.
Yeah, I want to. If anybody's out there listening to this that has a blog and is or a numbers geek, give me just a comprehensive list of 20 players like that. I'm not talking about established players that had a really hot month, because. I mean, the end of this month, you might have a superstar player, come the first week of May, he's hitting 140. It just happens, right? People have rough months. I'm talking somebody that just burst onto the scene and then nothing.
Who had probably at least 50% of their career hits came within a 6-week span.
Right, exactly. Chris Shelton and Bo Hart are probably 2 of them, but if anybody can find a list of the others, please send them my way.
Well, if you're just going off the first 2 weeks, it might be this guy on the Rockies, Trevor Story.
What's the Trevor Story, Morning Glory? Seriously.
Right? The Rockies are hoping he doesn't fizzle out,
Yeah. I mean, I guess with that guy, Levi, and I hadn't heard of him prior to a week and a half ago. I mean, I guess he was one of their better prospects. He was a first-round draft pick. I don't know much about him other than that. But he's off. He's
raking.
He's raking. Yeah, he's off and running and kind of made them look like a whole new team, really, when I think expectations for the Rockies were pretty
and I don't think
this year.
He hadn't even played a game in Colorado yet. So it was it's even easier to hit home runs.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely he's in a park where you can hit home runs. That's
yeah.
Like, it has to be crazy. It was what, like 3 or 4 days into the start of the season, he had like 4 home runs already.
Yeah.
And so it was like 4 days ago you had never played in a major league game, and now 4 days later you have 4 home runs.
I know,
yeah,
right?
4 days later you're owned in 90% of fantasy leagues.
Yeah. Let's just say, like, there's fewer people that have had like a better last 8 days than Trevor Story
in the United States.
In the United States, yeah. Like you can't really touch his last 8 days, you know. Like, yeah.
It is fascinating, though, what happens to these players where they say that they find a hole. The pitchers will find a hole in their swing.
Yeah, sure.
And, I'm always curious as to what that might be. I always try to visualize what the hole in the swing might be. But, I think that explains why some of these young players, they do go on this tear because the pitcher can't find the hole. Yeah. But eventually studying tape, after they play for 6 weeks, then it's like, oh, there it is. Like, he always chases sliders inside or something.
Sure. Pretty good defense, too, from what I see as well. Yeah. So, I mean, granted, obviously it's not the largest sample size here, but...
he's definitely on that list of players you want to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's must-see TV right now, definitely. And like I said, the Rockies, I think, they're kind of in rebuilding mode after losing Tulowitzki. And, they've got some talent, obviously, at third base. But... he's kind of been a nice catalyst for them this early part of the season, Mm-hmm. I was thinking about the Rockies. They haven't been around that long, obviously, but just because of that park, they've never really had an ace throughout their whole franchise history.
Yeah,
right.
You know what I mean? Just because Jeff Francis, like that they had like that year and a half where Ubaldo Jimenez was awesome,
Yeah.
But like the need for
David Need,
but like they've never had like a power pitcher, like at least the one that's like sustained, like awesome.
Greatness. No,
they have in almost 23, 24 years of being a team now. It's kind of like power pitchers don't want to go to Colorado, power hitters don't want to go to San Diego. You know what I mean? Just because the park's so.
Cavernous.
Pitcher friendly and cavernous.
Yeah,
San
like
Diego.
it sounds funny, but you would almost want to load up on like older junk arms, guys who throw like all just like off speed stuff and for going for ground balls.
Sure. Yeah. It's tough. I mean, that's probably, even though the Rockies have went to a World Series not terribly long ago, 2007, I think they got beat by the Red Sox. Yeah. Got pretty spanked by the Red Sox actually that year. And honestly, like aside from Tulowitzki, and Todd Helton, I can't even name anybody on that team off the top of my head. So maybe Jeff Francis,
Carlos Gonzalez.
Oh, was Cargo playing then? Yeah.
From 07. I'm sorry.
07? Yeah.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, so definitely. Trevor Story giving Rockies fans something to get excited about. Cubs have scored a lot of runs, Levi. They're. I looked at the team stats. Them and the Giants have scored quite a few runs. Giants have scored 43. Cubs have scored 42. I don't think that includes any runs that have been scored tonight. But still doing all the right things there.
Yeah. And a lot of it's manufactured. And I remember there were years where the Cubs couldn't hardly manufacture a run to save their life.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can keep it up.
Off to a fun start, I think. Good to see all of our teams start strong, and then some nice stories emerge as well. Moving on to, I guess the Marlins play in Florida. I don't know how they're doing so far, but anyway, there could be an X factor in that division. Jonathan just went down to Florida to see a couple Pearl Jam shows in Miami, and then the other one was in Sunrise. Is that where that is?
Yeah. First night was in Fort Lauderdale or Sunrise. It was at the Florida Panthers arena.
So almost kind of a Miami suburb, right? I mean, because it's pretty close.
Yeah. The strip malls don't stop in between Miami and Fort Lauderdale.
Right.
So the first night was at the BB&T Center the perversion that is a hockey arena at the edge of the Everglades.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely the rich history of hockey in Florida.
The house that John Van Beesbrook built.
Right.
I looked for Pavel Bure there, but I didn't see it.
Right.
I was hoping to run into him.
Was Yager at the shows?
Yeah, right. No, that would have kept my eye out.
He's like backstage partying.
Yeah. So it was cool to see opening night of the tour. And the set list was pretty solid, including I got to hear Help Help. It was the first time they played that in about 5 years. Severed Hand. They played the first part of Cheap Trick's No Surrender. Surrender, not No Surrender. The first verse and chorus, they played that, so that was fun. I Am Mine, Who You Are, even, which is always nice to hear. Footsteps was pretty great. Comatose. And then a pretty touching moment playing I'm a Patriot, devoted to a guy in the crowd. His son was killed in combat, I think, and so he played that for him. So that was like a pretty touching scene there, pretty intense.
Like they do with most shows, over the last few tours, they cover just about every record. I'm looking at it, and I don't know if you like this or you don't like this. I'd be curious to hear your take. The first night in Sunrise, a third of the tunes are off the first album and the most recent album.
Right. No,
I mean, if I had to write it, I wouldn't have done it like that. No, but that's just me.
Yeah, you're always going to get it like 4 to 6 songs off of 10. And I'm over most of them. Like, I don't need to hear most of them anymore. But really, just I don't need to hear it live anymore. But those moments when they play those staples, I just kind of I watch other people.
Yeah.
And I watch other people get really excited about it, and because there's something to be said for it. We get kind of alienated. If whether we're
snarky towards people that like those songs, and we shouldn't,
right? Well, no, and even if we're if we're looking at a set list, like whether it's the Crow Sold Out tour or seeing Alive in there, or seeing Better Man or Daughter in there every night, we get a little pessimistic about it. But I just started kind of focusing on other people, and just watching. I mean, it really brings everybody together.
Yeah.
There was this interesting issue with the second night. So I have fan club seats. I've been a member of the fan club since 1993, and so we always have pretty much the same seats to the side of the stage, a few rows up. And for some reason, on the second night, the third row, or the row right in front of us, was totally empty until right before the show started. And as the show started, all of these kids, all these people filled it up and were high-fiving each other and totally stoked, and they obviously weren't fan club members. And I felt like
shocking.
I felt like Hank Steinbrenner. Was Hank Steinbrenner's quotes about we don't want the people that don't usually get to be in the luxury seats behind home plate because they don't know how to act. I kind of felt like that, and I felt like an ass for thinking like that.
These people stinking up the place,
right? And so they spend a couple songs just high-fiving each other over their newfound luck for these great seats. And then I started to appreciate their enthusiasm, because every time when they started playing Jeremy the second night, they're just high-fiving each other and really fucking loving it.
Shocking. Those guys really like Jeremy.
Right. But it was passionate, and it was real, and I enjoyed it, and it made me kind of enjoy those older songs more.
Yeah. That's an interesting perspective.
And that's what I was going to kind of lead into. What shows were these? Number 748?
Oh, for me?
9? Yeah.
Oh. No, I don't know for sure. I think it's around 34, 35, 36.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as someone who's been a fan of a band that long, what are the expectations going into a Pearl Jam show nowadays?
A lot of it is interaction. The band's interaction has really grown with the audience, and staying in touch, and taking those signs like Springsteen does, where people are requesting things couple dudes had Trimmer Christ written across their foreheads at the second night, and so they played Trimmer Christ for these dudes, and then they just kept the camera on the dudes.
Yeah.
during them playing Trimmer Christ, and these dudes flipping out, and then when he's playing I'm a Patriot, and they just keeping the camera on the dad, and the dad is like fucking bawling, and it like takes it to this other level of connection, which is really cool. And even like it seems like a really familial tour in that Eddie's wife and kids are side stage and like dancing to the songs. His daughter's throwing him the tambourines when they're playing "Rockin' in the Free World," and where Eddie always like slams the tambourines and chucks them out to the crowd. He goes through like 10 or 12 during the show, or during that one song. And so it's a really laid back familial atmosphere, and there's a whole lot of connection, and so that's what I look for. And then also, as far as the set list goes, to pull out those nuggets, like, dude, I got to hear WMA in its entirety.
Oh, no kidding.
The second night, and I never would have expected that. So nuggets like that, hearing Pilot, Trimmer Christ, dude, the cover of Comfortably Numb was phenomenal. McCree has never done such good guitar work.
That's one of my. I mean, the first both solos in that are two of the best solos ever.
Oh my god,
the original, yeah. The first one's kind of serene, and the second one's really dark. The contrast in those solos in the same song is pretty incredible.
Yeah, they really nailed it. So definitely check out that Comfortably Numb video. I'm sure it'll surface eventually.
Yeah.
And then then they'll play to the back. They'll play a song like that. Matt Cameron has like a little drum kit that faces the back too, and they'll go play a song for the people behind the stage. State of Love and Trust, phenomenal. There are songs I never tire of that they play every show. Corduroy, Do the Evolution. They could play those every show. I don't need to hear Better Man every show. I don't need to hear Alive every show, or Black. But so you're gonna have like that base Levi of like 9 or 10 songs, but then the other 20 songs are just kind of wild cards, and it's just hearing the flow of it all, because and there's a lot of thought that goes into it for every show.
Yeah. I saw the Tampa set list, even though it's tonight, has just been posted.
I know. I was looking at it, and I'm saying I'm already thinking I wish I would have gone to Tampa.
Yeah, good.
It's the only time in your life you've ever seen that.
Being pretty good to Florida, man. They got Jacksonville in a couple nights then too. So
right, yeah. I think it had been several years. That'd be cool. I would certainly hope that Petty would consider it if he's in town.
Yeah.
They'll get a Petty cover at least.
Yeah, sure. Well, that's cool. I thought they looked good.
Pop quiz, both of you. What Tom Petty song would you want to hear Pearl Jam cover?
Gosh,
off the tops of your heads.
I'll say "You Wreck Me," just off the top of my head.
That's fucking good. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Nice. Yeah. There you go.
They would burn that one down. I thought they both looked great too, set list wise. I mean, the nuggets that they threw in kind of would have compensated for some of the lightning bolt songs that I'm not really that excited about. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not. I mean, I've shared my opinions. Like, I don't hate the record. I don't. I'm not drawn to it. Let's put it that way.
I think a lot of it is really solid stuff, and it's really kind of complex, dark stuff. Though, I don't need to hear sirens every show. Other than that, I'm perfectly fine with them playing whatever from Lightning Bolt. But yeah, I mean, I would also like to hear more instead from Riot Act or No Code. But so it goes. Them's the breaks. For some of these shows.
It's their show, not ours.
And I don't even think that they toured Florida for Lightning Bolt, and so I think that's why maybe they're including more Lightning Bolt for Florida. A quick shout out not only to my buddy Michael and his wife Jacqueline, who we sat with at one of the shows, but also Kevin from Portland, who I met during the second show. And we rocked together. He's going to the other Florida shows, so safe travels to Kevin.
Nice.
Well, yes, definitely. Hopefully he's a new listener to the podcast. So excellent. Good deal. Well, thanks for the recap. Let's go west to first the Troubadour, and then I guess it was the MGM where they played for Guns N' Roses. We've been talking the GNR reunion quite a bit here. It's a big story, and I certainly love Guns. Obviously some ambivalence around just sort of a partial reunion, but anyway, I don't know if you guys got a chance to watch any, because they did on April 1st. They did what I think is a pretty cool thing. They played the Troubadour in West Hollywood, and they opened up the old Tower Records, right? Which I guess they kind of sort of created a mini GNR museum within it.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's a Gibson store now. So they got a customer there in Slash, it looks like. But they opened up the old Tower Records as the ticket booth, and it was just a Facebook post, they're going to play the Troubadour tonight, $10, pick up your ticket at the old Tower Records on Sunset. Regardless of the financial motives of this whole tour and this whole reunion, that's a pretty boss move, in my opinion. That's really cool to do that.
I wonder how many people saw it on April Fool's Day.
The balls to do it on April Fool's Day.
The tickets were they had a line up out the door in minutes, Yeah. But you're right. Yeah. How many people thought it was a joke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Tower Records is open. Oh, and there's $10 GNR tickets. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Double talk and drive, indeed.
I know some people might think it's cheesy and nostalgic, but I that brought a smile to my face when I read it. I was like, that is a cool move, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and I've watched some of the there were no cell phones that night, in quotes. But yeah, some of the footage has been posted, and I thought it sounded pretty good. The Welcome to the Jungle, that's high quality.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it ripped, man.
Yeah, that's the only one I saw, and yeah, I was surprised how well it sounded.
Yeah. Even Axl's voice, which has kind of has been shaky over the years.
It was solid, I thought. Yeah.
And the set list, man, they played Double Talk and Jive, which they haven't done since '93. They did, they did a Damned cover, New Rose, which, even though GNR doesn't change its set list that much and never really has, I like that they throw something like that in there. I mean, it's just, I don't know if that was kind of Duff's doing or what, but he seems like the guy that would throw in the Damned.
They've always played cool covers.
They absolutely have. And then they did the encore,
especially
with
Axl's stuff.
Yeah, and then the encore, the Seeker as well. So yeah, right on, guys. I mean, if this whole thing's going to be, I know some people are going to see this whole thing as just convoluted anyway, but I don't know. I think they've started off pretty on the right foot.
Have they done Layla before?
Pun intended.
They did Layla?
That?
Yeah.
Did they?
Had they done that before? Oh, instrumental with Axl on piano.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I think they did some teases where they
okay.
The whole song.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Sebastian
haven't
Bach
seen
showed
any
up.
footage from Vegas. Have you came across any Vegas?
Yeah, I watched the You Could Be Mine last night.
I'll have to check that out.
It's out there. So yeah, so fast forward a week later, they played 2 nights at the arena in Las Vegas, and that show was probably pretty similar, I would assume, to what most people are going to get this summer. With a couple, they did Coma the first night. They did like Jonathan said, they did Layla instrumental. They did a Wish You Were Here jam. So, I mean, so far so good, man. Yeah. I mean, yeah. And hell, Axl even broke his foot and he's still out there, So
is he jumping off a riser, or how'd this happen?
It happened in L.A.
At the show?
Yeah, at the show.
Oh.
Huh.
And I guess he played through the pain, and I think it was during the Paradise City. I think it was near the end of the show. And then, fast forward a week, and they're in Vegas, And I don't know if you guys remember, like Dave Grohl broke his foot earlier this last year. And so he had like a throne, right? Mm-hmm. Like the Game of Thrones looking throne.
Okay. Yeah.
That's Dave Grohl gave Axel the throne for these shows.
Oh, really?
Okay. It's the same throne, yeah.
I saw pictures of Dave backstage with them.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
There was like some, and I wondered what the link was. There you go. He gave him his throne.
Yeah, he gave him the throne. So yeah, Axel's seated for those Vegas shows.
He knows who the true Lord of Rock is. You know what I mean? He bequeaths the throne.
Yeah. And let's see here. 23 tunes in Vegas. And then also, I don't know if you guys notice this. There's a female keyboardist now.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And I don't know because it was announced who the other players, the people.
Yeah.
From he retained 2 people from the new lineup, and then Dizzy Reed has played with him since Use Your Illusion, so he's not really a new member. But on second keyboard, they've got a girl named Melissa Reese, and I looked her up, and she makes kind of pop music, really. I don't know how, like, what role. I mean, obviously she plays keyboards. But like I don't know, like, if you were to go to the show, like how big she sounds.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure, but so she was, and I assume she's gonna ride out the whole tour with them, I guess. So right on.
Yeah.
I guess if there's any complaint that I would have would be the same complaint some people had back in like '93, that there were so many people, like, they've got 2 keyboardists now. In '93, they had backup singers and they had, a keyboard. The sound had become so much bigger.
Oh yeah, it was a full-on production.
That to me it got a little bit bloated on the Use Your Illusion tour, and it was just such. I mean, obviously you had to have a piano since it was so pronounced on the Use Your Illusion records. But some of the rawness maybe is taken away when you add other musicians, beyond just the core 5.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance, a fine line, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
for sure.
But from as far as audio goes, yeah, I've been really pleased with what the videos I've watched and stuff so far. I don't necessarily want to cough up $300 to go see it, but
or go to a football stadium.
Yeah, or go to a football stadium. But I'm pleased that it looks like it's going well so far for them. So
yeah,
crowd seems to dig it. So got the big Coachella. You guys make anything of the set list or any other observations?
Have they done Don't Cry yet?
Yeah. Yep, they did it the second night in Vegas.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. They encored Don't Cry the Seeker in Paradise City.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's a tough trio.
That's pretty fucking sweet.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Uh-huh.
I remember that was the first cassette single I ever owned.
Ah, nice.
Don't Cry.
Yeah. Shannon Hoon on backing vocals.
Yeah. Open it up with It's So Easy both nights. And then actually doing a couple of songs off Chinese Democracy, it looks like, as well. So, fortunately, those don't constitute the bulk of the set list. But, they also did the second night in Vegas. Yeah, the 9th. They did, guys, they put out that Spaghetti Incident album.
I was going to say, if they come out and just been like, we're going to do the entire Spaghetti Incident in its entirety tonight.
Well, they did Attitude. Which Duff sang. It was a Misfits cover, which rips.
Yeah.
That song's awesome. So I'm glad to see they did that. And they teased You Can't Put Your Arms Around a Memory by Johnny Thunders as well. So, stuff like that, that kind of, as big as they've become and just maybe in some people's eyes as bloated as it's become, there's still like just a drop of like punk edge. You know what I mean? Like just with something like that and then doing
paying homage.
Yeah.
They did that You Can't Put Your Arms Around a Memory song back in the day. I have it as a B-side onto one of my singles.
Ah, right. Yeah.
I have some of their stuff on 45.
Yeah. Nice. Perfect song for him to sing, So yeah, I'm pleased so far. I'm not going, but I hope the high quality YouTube clips keep rolling in. So...
Well, dude, I would stream a show. Like, they need to get on the streaming bandwagon.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, like I I'd even pay $10, $20 to watch maybe not 20, but I'd pay a little bit of money to like stream a high quality show.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd pay $20.
Yeah, $20. Yeah. Put GNR on TV. You could pause
High
it.
def. Do whatever. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah. Long story short, I'm glad it's off to a good start for them. You know, obviously other than him breaking his foot. So yeah, the true test, I guess, is this weekend when they face the festival masses in Coachella. It's so ambitious. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw like Coachella this upcoming weekend, and Coachella is spread out over 2 weekends. They're going to Mexico City to play 2 shows in between, and then Coachella. So that's just a lot to haul. You know what I mean? From in a short amount of time. That's like 4 big shows. Yeah. Within the span of like 7 or 8 days.
So did nothing come of Axl and AC/DC?
Yeah. I don't know what's going. I don't know. I mean,
like I had seen they had footage.
Out of the studio.
Yeah, they had footage of them like coming out of the studio together, and then it's died off over the last week.
Well, obviously they had these commitments to play this Coachella in Vegas, but the Guns tour doesn't start until like late June, I think, early July.
I wonder if since he broke his foot, everything's like off the table now.
Apparently, Cheap Trick's Robin Zander has offered to front him.
To front AC/DC?
That's crazy.
And also, finally, congrats to those guys for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as well. I think it's long overdue for that band. So glad to see they're off to a good start. The I don't know what it was like I think they're playing Denver and Kansas City, GNR. Like the Chicago tickets went quickly. So they were like, I don't know if a bunch of brokers got a hold of them. Like they were, like tickets went on sale at 10 o'clock. Like nobody could get tickets at like 10:02. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, they're all sold out. But then all of a sudden they were all on StubHub.
Exactly. So, excellent. All right.
Yeah.
So, want to remind everybody you can check us out on Twitter and Instagram at RockInChew. That's N as in Night Train. So RockInChew. And then also you can find out everything you need to know. Previous episodes, links to fun stuff, discussion or albums that we've discussed on the show. All of our archives, some fun kind of themed episodes from the early days of the podcast. You can find all of that on rockchew.com. And also please like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at RockandChew. And until next time, we will see everybody again real soon. Take it easy.
Good night.
Peace.